Hello, welcome. Today I've got a Time Spiral Remastered 3 booster draft pack. So let's get started. The glue seems a little stickier than normal. My cat is currently stealing a camera strap. Like a wrist strap for a camera. What a little thief. I'm gonna have to put a stop to this. Alright, well, now he's just kind of settled in the corner, so I think that's going to have to be good enough. I don't know how I'm supposed to get the cards out of here. We've got 3 boosters. Look like they all have the same art. Not sure if that's a standard thing, but let us begin. Piracy Charm costs a blue for an instant. Choose one. Target creature gains Island Walk until end of turn. It can't be blocked as long as defending player controls an island. Target creature gets +2/-1 until end of turn. Or target player discards a card. Bone Splitter Sliver. 3 in a red for a 2/2 sliver creature. All sliver creatures get +2/+0. As the time streams grew more and more unstable, Dominaria's creatures struggled to adapt. The intense pressures led to many dead ends, but also to lethal new forms that appeared as suddenly as Ashen Rains. Deep Cavern Imp, 2 in a black for a 2/2 Imp Rebel creature with flying and haste and echo. Discard a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this card came in under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its echo cost. Thallid Shell Dweller, 1 in a green for a 0/5 fungus creature with Defender. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a spore counter on Thallid Shell Dweller. Remove 3 spore counters from Thallid Shell Dweller. Create a 1/1 green Saproling creature token. Orcish Cannonade, 1 and 2 red for an instant. Orcish Cannonade deals 2 damage to any target and 3 damage to you. Draw a card. No ready, no aim, just fire. This is Scarback Plague, Orcish Captain. Fortify. 2 and a white. Instant. Choose 1. Target creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Or target creature you control. No, creatures you control get +0/+2 until end of turn. Where metal is tainted and wood is scarce, we are best armed by faith. Says Tavalis, acolyte of Corliss. Dreamscape Artist. 1 and a blue for a 1/1 human spell shaper creature. Pay 2 and a blue and tap and discard a card and sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. He's mastered the art of sleight of hand. Sleight of land. Oh. Joyra's Time Bug. Costs 2 for a 1/2 insect artifact creature. Tap, choose target permanent you control or suspended card you own. If that permanent or card has a time counter on it, you may remove a time counter from it or put another time counter on it. Sunlance. Costs a white for a sorcery. Sunlance deals 3 damage to target non-white creature. It's easy for the innocent to speak of justice. They seldom feel its terrible power, says Aurum, Samite Inquisitor. Gaia's Anthem. 1 and 2 green for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. To those who can hear it, Gaia's battle song brings power as swift as sunlight and as enduring as the deep roots of the forest, says Gamelin, Citadel Elder. Cautery Sliver. Costs a red and a white for a 2/2 sliver creature. All slivers have pay 1, sacrifice this permanent. This permanent deals 1 damage to any target. All slivers have pay 1 and sacrifice this permanent. Prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target player, planeswalker, or sliver creature this turn. Timebender. Costs a blue for a 1/1 human wizard creature with morph for a blue. When Timebender is turned face up, choose 1. Remove 2 time counters from target permanent or suspended card. Or put 2 time counters on target permanent with a time counter on it or suspended card. And our rare is Sarah Avenger. Costs 2 white for a 3/3 angel creature. You can't cast this spell during your first, second, or third turns of the game. It has flying and vigilance. To those who endure in the face of suffering, those whose faith shines long in evil days, they shall see salvation. Song of All, Canto 904. And we got Felton of the Third Path. 1 and 2 red for a 2/3 human artificer legendary creature. Pay 2 and a red and tap. Create a token that's a copy of target creature card in your graveyard, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. She will come back to me. And we got a lightning axe. Costs a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or pay 5. Lightning axe deals 5 damage to target creature. A gargoyle's meat can be carved with an ordinary cleaver, but for its perilous hide, I'm not even going to begin to pronounce that. the Underworld Cookbook. We got a 0/1 red kobold token creature. Neat. On to the next. Two-headed sliver. 1 and a red for a 1/1 sliver creature. All sliver creatures have menace. They can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. That which would be a fatal mutation in any other species is merely a source of new powers. I am intrigued, yet too fearful to examine it more closely, says Ricaramel Field Journal. Slipstream Serpent. 7 and a blue for a 6/6 serpent creature. Slipstream Serpent can't attack unless defending player controls an island. When you control no islands, sacrifice Slipstream Serpent. Morph for 5 and a blue. You may cast this card face down as a 2/2 creature for 3. Turn it face up at any time for its morph cost. Sting Scourger. 1 and a red for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior creature. Echo. 3 and a red. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its echo cost. When Sting Scourger enters the battlefield, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Edge of Autumn. 1 and a green for a sorcery. If you control 4 or fewer lands, search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Cycling. Sacrifice a land. Sacrifice a land, discard this card, draw a card. At harvest, the seeds of next year are sown. Search for tomorrow. 2 and a green for sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Suspend 2. Pay a green. Rather than cast this card from your hand, you may pay a green and exile it with 2 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter. When the last is removed, cast it without paying its mana cost. Feebleness. 1 and a black for an enchantment aura. With flash. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets -2/-1. Just a small touch of magic can harness the debilitating power of Urborg's poisonous winds. Terramorphic Expanse. Land. Tap, sacrifice Terramorphic Expanse. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Take 2 steps north into the unsettled future, south into the unquiet past, east into the present day, or west into the great unknown. Fathom Seer. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 illusion creature with morph. Return 2 islands you control to their owner's hand. You may cast this card face down as a 2/2 creature for 3. Turn it face up at any time for its morph cost. When Fathom Seer is turned face up, draw 2 cards. Castle Raptors. 4 and a white for a 3/3 bird soldier creature with flying. As long as Castle Raptors is untapped, it gets +0/+2. Each place we see is as ruined and lifeless as the last. So here we stay, because this ruin is ours. Ichor Slick. 2 and a black for sorcery. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Cycling 2. Pay 2, discard this card, draw a card. Madness. 3 and a black. If you discard this card, discard it into exile. When you do, cast it for its madness cost or put it in your graveyard. Cautery Sliver. Costs a red and a white for a 2/2 sliver creature. All slivers have pay 1, sacrifice this permanent. This permanent deals 1 damage to any target. All slivers have pay 1, sacrifice this permanent. Prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target player, planeswalker, or sliver creature this turn. Core Dirge. Costs 2 and a black for an instant. All damage that would be dealt this turn to target creature you control by a source of your choice is dealt to another target creature instead. Every new Evencar cements their power with a culling as the weak are purged anew from wrath. Arcblade. Costs 3 and 2 red for a sorcery. Arcblade deals 2 damage to any target. Exile Arcblade with 3 time counters on it. Suspend 3. Pay 2 and a red. Rather than cast this card from your hand, you may pay 2 and a red and exile it with 3 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter. When the last is removed, cast it without paying its mana cost. And our rare is Extirpate. Costs a black for an instant with Split Second. As long as the spell is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. Choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic land card. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for all cards with the same name as that card and exile them. That player shuffles their library. We got a Solemn Simulacrum. Costs 4 for a 2/2 Golem artifact creature. When Solemn Simulacrum enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. When Solemn Simulacrum dies, you may draw a card. We got a 1/1 green Sapperling creature token. And our last booster pack. Sting Scourger. 1 and a red for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior creature with Echo. 3 and a red. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this card came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its Echo cost. When Sting Scourger enters the battlefield, return target creature and opponent controls to its owner's hand. Tolarian Sentinel. 3 and a blue for a 1/3 human spell shaper creature with flying. Pay a blue and tap and discard a card. Return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. It's not just our people I try to rescue. It's our culture and our hope that we can return to greatness. Mogwar Marshal. 1 and a red for a 1/1 Goblin Warrior creature with Echo for 1 and a red. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its Echo cost. When Mogwar Marshal enters the battlefield or dies, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Gorgon Recluse, 3 and 2 black for a 2/4 Gorgon creature. Whenever Gorgon Recluse blocks or becomes blocked by a non-black creature, destroy that creature at end of combat. Madness for 2 black. If you discard this card, discard it into exile. When you do, cast it for its madness cost or put it into your graveyard. Blight Speaker, 1 and a black for a 1/1 human rebel cleric. Creature. Tap. Target player loses 1 life. Pay 4 and tap. Search your library for a rebel permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. 1 Croaked Sermon. 1 Croaked Sermon spreads propaganda and plague. Evolution Charm. 1 and a green for an instant. Choose 1. Search your library for a basic land card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Or, target creature gains flying until end of turn. Aven Riftwatcher. 2 and a white for a 2/3 bird rebel soldier creature with flying and vanishing 3. This creature enters the battlefield with 3 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter from it. When the last is removed, sacrifice it. When Aven Riftwatcher enters or leaves the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Fathom Seer. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 illusion creature with morph. Return 2 islands you control to their owner's hand. You may cast this card face down as a 2/2 creature for 3. Turn it face up at any time for its morph cost. When Fathom Seer is turned face up, draw 2 cards. Castle Raptors. 4 and a white for a 3/3 bird soldier creature with flying. As long as Castle Raptors is untapped, it gets +0/+2. Each place we see is as ruined and lifeless as the last. So here we say, because this ruin is ours. Seal of Primordium. 1 and a green for an enchantment. Sacrifice Seal of Primordium. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. I am the Simplifier, the root that drags all artifice to earth. Seal inscription. Saltfield Recluse. 2 and a white for a 1/2 human rebel cleric creature. Tap. Target creature gets -2/-0 until end of turn. He remembers a past of light and healing, but he lives in the bitter present, parching salt, scoured wind, and the withering heat of the desert. Cryptic Annelid. 3 and a blue for a 1/4 worm beast creature. When Cryptic Annelid enters the battlefield, scry 1, then scry 2, then scry 3. To scry X, look at the top X cards of your library, then put any number of them on the bottom of your library and the rest on top in any order. Street Wraith. 3 and 2 black for a 3/4 Wraith creature with Swamp Walk. This creature can't be blocked as long as defending player controls a swamp. Uncycling. Pay 2 life. Pay 2 life, discard this card, draw a card. The lamps on Windmore Street snuff themselves at midnight and refuse to relight, afraid to illuminate what lies in darkness. last rare is Sliver Legion. Costs a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green for a 7/7 Sliver legendary creature. All Sliver creatures get +1/+1 for each other Sliver on the battlefield. Hidden within the clicking, chittering swarm is a unique mind, still young but growing more aware as time passes. Nice. And Mystic Confluence. 3 and 2 blue for an instant. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Return target creature to its owner's hand or draw a card. We got a 0/1 red Cobalt token creature. Thanks for watching.